Oh my goodness. Look at me. Oh man, my hair is terrible. I'm back, guys. I'm back. I'm back. I haven't had done a video here on YouTube. Since like the 8th, something like that. And here we are on the 20th. Just a bunch of stuff going on, including a family vacation. So I'm glad for those of you who are sticking with me, even though I go dark every once in a while. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Gavin. Thank you very much for being here. Today we are, this is just the case that won't stop. It's just the case that won't stop. Of course, we are talking about the case of MICA Frances Miller. The official story, which I think I'm just going to go ahead and plant myself firmly in this camp. I believe the official story. The official story is MICA Miller went into the woods at Lumber River State Park in North Carolina, where she took a gun that she had purchased at Dick's Pawn Shop, and she ended her own life after calling 911 and telling them what her plan was. But just because I believe that official story does not mean that I believe that this guy had nothing to do with it. I think, it's my opinion, of course, that her husband, Pastor John Paul J.P. Miller, had a lot to do with MICA Miller's death, and I want to talk about that a little bit today. One of the things I want to get up prepared for myself that I did not do beforehand is I want to bring up MICA's list, because we definitely want to have that going and ready to go. Okay. All right. This is what has happened in my absence. Pastor Miller went on Banfield and did an interview, which was then broadcast. It was uploaded to YouTube late yesterday, and one of my viewers sent me a link to it, and I have watched it. I have edited it just to the parts that has Pastor Miller, just to his actual interview parts. I have not done any editing of that part of it. There are some edits that I noticed that I think News Nation did, Banfield did. But anything anywhere I edited, you will see a white flash and you'll hear a sound effect. That's how I made it, so that it was obvious the parts that I did. Man, I did not. I am out of practice, guys. I'm out of practice because I've been on vacation and now I don't even know what I'm doing. I've got so much going on. Okay, so let's not bury the lead, okay? Okay, John Paul Miller does this interview, which we're going to watch together, and then we're going to comment on it along the way. Now, there are going to be several of you that are going to be annoyed or perturbed or a little upset that I'm pausing or I'm talking over. Listen, you can just go to the Banfield YouTube video and watch the whole thing. The point of my channel is to discuss, right? So if that is the kind of thing that bothers you, this isn't the right video for you. Okay, so let's get over to here. And while we're getting ready to play this, let me just bring up this one. I have a hard time keeping up with all y'all's comments. So I put a little filter in there for me so that I can see the stuff that you want me to see. Okay, like for example, Autumn, because she's awesome, already put, if you want my attention or have a question, you put GF in the comment. And I saw that because she put GF in the thing. And look, Autumn, I missed you too. So glad to be back. Phoenix Rising, I'm glad to see you too. Okay, so put GF in your comment if there's something that you want me to see. All right. I think we caught Pastor Miller in a lie here. Pretty big lie. But time will tell. Let's just watch this together. What is it? It's about 28 minutes long all together. And as we go along, I'll probably stop it and we can talk. Okay, let's just see how we go. And if you guys have any issues with sound, you let me know. Okay, here we go.
You and I have been talking since this happened, basically, communicating over text. Why now? Why the decision to speak now after all this time has passed? Where's your head at?
Well, I think part of it is I finally got the approval of my attorneys to do so. They
Oh my goodness. Okay, I already have to stop. Okay, look at him. Real quick. He's kind of teary-eyed. That's what it looks like. Okay? And later on in the interview, because I've watched the whole thing, later on in the interview, we're going to see this part where at the beginning of the interview, he breaks down. He starts crying, right? I think that this guy is such a performative dude that I don't think it's real tears. I think what we're seeing here is sweat under the lights. That's what I think we're seeing here. And I think that he's like been rubbing his eyes and stuff like that to make him look puffy. I think this guy is an actor. He's a charismatic performer. And I don't think that he has shed a tear yet. I don't think he has. Anyway.
The ones working on the defamation cases, they said it's easier to win a defamation case the more the people talk. And so they've been collecting a lot of evidence over the past while. And also I think that now that some of the emotion has died down in the world.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt again, guys. I'm not going to apologize anymore for that. This is what I do. Okay. He's talking about defamation cases. I think his number one target for a defamation lawsuit is probably Robbie Harvey, because I think Robbie Harvey has been almost inviting it. I don't think that I'm in any danger of a defamation case on my channel, because this is all just my opinion and I share it as my opinion. I haven't gone out and stated as fact anything about the good pastor. However, I think that Mr. Miller is going to have a really hard time with defamation, because he is, by definition of New York Times v. Sullivan, he is a public figure. Therefore, he has very little recourse in the United States. If you guys want to know a little bit about New York Times v. Sullivan, yeah, look it up. It is a critical Supreme Court precedent-setting case. Mr. Miller does not have a leg to stand on this. If he brings defamation against Robbie Harvey, against myself, against anybody on YouTube or social media, he is going to have a very hard time proving his case, and he's going to be opening himself to countersuits. So I think that this is probably a lot of just bloviation. He's probably going to do nothing because a good lawyer would tell him you can't do anything here.
And with people that are led by their feelings, I think now they deserve to hear some logic and some truth, and make their own assessment. So.
Do you miss her?
Yes, sir.
This is his fake performative crying.
Yes, sir.
Not a tear.
Did you see this coming?
Yes, but it doesn't change at all the power of the pain of reality. I saw it coming for years. I told them for years this would happen over, and I said if she gets off her medicine, suicide is the next thing. She tried it in the past, but with me, she always remained okay with me. She was on her meds with me. She was healthy and happy. And even if she did get low or stop taking her medicine, I would help her get back on it, and things would be fine. Without me and with her family, she's off meds, and she committed suicide.
Okay, this just absolutely kills me. And I don't even know why he's talking at all. Like, I honestly don't. But he is now blaming her family publicly for the for MICA's death, for her taking her own life. That, I think, opens him up to a defamation lawsuit, because they are not public people. They do not have the same bar. But he is claiming that it is with me that MICA was safe. And without me and with her family, she is not. She is in danger of taking her own life.
told them this would happen over and over again. I tried my best to stop her from getting a gun. I went to judges. I have copies of all the police. I talked to her counselor, the pastor she was going to, her family, her friends. I told them all, don't let her get a gun, do whatever.
Whoa. He just admitted to calling MICA's new pastor, to talking to MICA's new pastor. And that was one of the things that she was complaining about, right? And it's one of the things that other people who left his church complained about, that he would try to get them thrown out of, this is their claim, that he would try to get them thrown out of their new church. And he's admitting it on cable news.
Prevent her from getting a gun. And when she was with me, she was never able to go that far. But with them, that's exactly what happened. And it destroyed me, and I still haven't really grasped it. Like, it hasn't. I kind of keep putting off the reality of it, and I try not to think about it as much as I can.
What was going on in your marriage the week MICA died?
The week she died, we didn't talk that entire week. I'd emailed her several times that week, and my regular emails are sending her letters telling her that I love her, and she came over to the house. The last time I saw her was a few weeks before she passed away. We spent about 4 hours together, and we hugged and kissed, and she was in and out of psychotic conversations. She would say, one thing about double agents that are following her. That was one of the phrases she would use when she was off her meds, double agents. And the other phrase she would say, she wants to come home so bad, but her family won't let her. She told me she wanted to live in Africa and asked me if I'd live with her. I said, sure, if you take your medicine, And so she told me if I'd give her some money and if I would write her a letter saying certain things in this letter, that she would take her medicine. And so I tried that, and but she desperately wanted to come home. She was just so afraid her family would disown her. And so the week before...
So this is his claim. This is his main claim here, right? That, hey, I am the superhero in this story. I am the white hat. And her family, they're all the black hats. And if I could have just gotten her away from her family, she would have been perfectly safe. Of course, her family obviously disputes that, and I'm given to agree with them on this. I think that his behavior has been so strange, so completely bizarre and off the wall, that I don't trust anything that this man says. I think that he has been a performance artist for so long that he believes his own performance. That's what I think. I think he doesn't even know where the truth stops and his lies begin. I don't think he could tell you where that line of delineation is. I just think that, he's like a salesman and believing. Yeah, he's a salesman. He's a performer. He's just who he is, and I just don't think that. I don't think that this guy would know the truth if it came up to him and slapped him in the face. I really don't.
She passed away. I probably emailed her maybe 7 or 8 times that week, just saying, I love you. You need your lithium. Don't forget who you are when you're on medicine versus who you are when you're off. She had lost 40 pounds in a month, and nobody that was in her life thought to take care of her. Nobody. She was living with a former registered nurse. Her family, quote unquote, were taking care of her. She lost 40 pounds in 1 month, and no one thought she needed help. She was talking about living in Africa. No one thought she needed help. She's making videos on Facebook, and if you see the videos, you know it's not her, because she has a different cadence, a different tone, a different amount of words per minute when she's healthy and on medicine than when she's off. And the way she was even looking into space when she's taking those videos, you knew she was delusional. And if somebody loved her enough to take her to a professional and say, okay, this woman says she's being abused, or this woman says, this, or she's lost 40 pounds in a month. If someone thought, I need to take her to a professional, that professional would have known that she needed medicine. And the reason I know that's true is because I took her a few weeks before she passed away. I took her to probate court. And in 3 minutes time, she went in, she walked back out. When I went in, they said, your wife is mentally ill and she needs medicine desperately. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's get her the medicine. Let's get her help. And they said, she's not a danger to anybody in society, so we can't force her to do it.
Okay, so what he just did there was he gave basically testimony about what happened in probate court during a court proceeding that is on the record. So I don't know what I don't know that I can trust this guy. In fact, I just feel like I can't, right? So I'm hoping what the Francis family did when they saw this, they went, okay, let's go get the record and see exactly what it is that it says. Because my guess is it's not even close to what he just said. I think he is banking on, people who are pathological liars. And I'm not saying he is one. I'm just saying, like, okay, so hypothetically, right? People who are pathological liars, they believe their own lie, and they depend on people not calling them on it. That's what happens, right? And then when people do call them on it, they double down. And this is the kind of behavior that we see out of Pastor Miller here. Notice when he's asked questions, how often he will be looking up, looking for the answer, trying to remember what the answer to that question is. What story have I told before is what it looks like he's doing. So be very aware of his body language on this. It's, the tells that he's giving away.
But if one of her family members or friends had taken note of the way she was acting and seen what was happening to her physically and taken her to just one professional, they could have saved her life.
Where were you when MICA died?
It was on a Saturday. I was in Charleston with about 100 people from my kids' school.
What was it?
Oh, soccer. It was a soccer tournament.
Okay, so we know, I've gone through MICA's last day, pretty much almost down to the minute. Bring us through your last day? You said soccer. Do you have any documentation that they were
Thank you, people.
You're asking because, okay, I got you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can't believe people. Oh, my Lord. So, yeah, I was with about 100 people. We had dinner that night. We were all together at the soccer fields that day. Afterwards, after the soccer game, somebody was with me the entire time, who I can't name due to legal purposes, but I will say it's somebody that I love more than anything else on planet Earth.
Man or woman?
Young person that I cannot name due to legal purposes, but somebody that I am responsible for and love very, very much. And that person was with me, and we went shopping in Charleston, and we got
his
food
child,
in Charleston.
right? He's saying I was with my child.
There's all the receipts from that throughout the time. I think we might have gotten gas too, and then I made it back to Myrtle Beach. And I was just actually looking today at emails that I sent her that day. I sent her 4 emails that day, and I just noticed today that 2 of those she wasn't able to read because it was after it had happened.
What do you think happened that day?
So, according to what she's tried to do in the past, and according to her doctors who have taken care of her for years, and according to me who's seen it over and over again, I imagine that she was in
Notice him wipe his face like that, like he's trying to get rid of tears. The tears aren't there, dude. There are no tears there. A camera in 4K is right on you, man. And there are no tears. I can't believe anybody buys this. I can't believe anybody follows this guy. And they just must be trying to, like, people who, how do I want to say this, Gavin? Dude, I'm having a hard time. Look, this guy has people that attend his church that pay offerings and tithing and hang on his every word. And they're probably good people. They're probably bought into the idea that social media is attacking him, and all the BS that he wants everybody to, that I think he wants everybody to believe that he's the victim here. But the real issue here is that they should understand who it is that they're being asked to follow. The very church building that he is preaching inside of, he purchased from his father, who was a disgraced minister that did all sorts of deviant, terrible things. And my guess, I don't know this, my guess is that part of the revenues that come through Solid Rock probably go to his dad. That's probably the deal that they've made, right? His dad needs to live too, right? And he can't get a congregation to support him. So my guess is when JP Miller bought the church from his dad, part of it is probably some type of licensing agreement or something that gets him paid for the rest of his life. That's my guess. So I don't know. He's such a performance artist and not a good one. I wish other people would leave him the way people fled from his dad when he was disgraced. That this guy should be selling vacuum cleaners, or, I don't want to like I've worked sales. I worked my way up to the vice president of sales and marketing of an audio company. Like, I've worked sales. There's nothing wrong with that job. That's what this guy is good at. He should not be in a place where he's leading people. He should be selling stuff, because that's what he's doing, except that he's hurting people along the way. Okay. My screed is over. Here we go.
I saw her pictures on the Dick's Pawn Shop. Someone sent me screenshots of the Dick's Pawn Shop pictures where she's smiling, which out of the 6 or 7 times that she tried to commit suicide in the past, only one of those times was she depressed. The other times she was very euphoric. And she would wake up and say, I think I'm supposed to die today. And I'd say, no, honey, you're not going to do that. She said, well, my mind tells me that I'm supposed to kill myself. I said, we're not going to listen to your mind. We're going to take you to a doctor and get you help. And I discovered, of course, that she had stopped taking her meds each time. But either way, she was in a euphoric attitude. And so you see the Dick's Pawn Shop video where she's wearing her work clothes and with a smile on her face. So they sold her a weapon. And then, I assume that she drove. She told one of her best friends. So far, the 4 people she spent the most time with every week, no one's interviewed or talked to those 4 people. And one of those people that I talked to told me that she told her 2 years ago, if I ever commit suicide, I'm going to go to this place in Lumberton, the state.
I want to hear that one more time. Hold on.
Those people that I talked to told me, I think I'm supposed to die today. And I said, no.
I want to hear that one more time.
No, honey, you're not going to do that. She said, well, my mind tells me that I'm supposed to kill myself. I said, we're not going to listen to your mind. We're going to take you to a doctor and get you help. And I discovered, of course, that she had stopped taking her meds each time. But either way, she was in a euphoric attitude. And so you see the Dick's Pawn Shop video where she's wearing her work clothes and with a smile on her face. So they sold her a weapon, and then I assume that she drove. She told one of her best friends. So far, the 4 people she spent the most time with every
This
week,
is the part.
no one's interviewed or talked to those 4 people. And one of those people that I talked to told me that she told her 2 years ago, if I ever commit suicide, I'm going to go to this place in Lumberton. Okay,
so I want to know who these 4 people are that he says nobody has spoken to, because he won't name them in this. But he's saying, no, you guys are talking to all the wrong people. The 4 people in her life that she spent the most time with, they know that she was going to do this and even said where the spot is. Okay, so a lot of us have been looking at this case. How has this never come out? And what are the names of those 4 people? In fact, if you are one of those 4 people, head on over to gavinfish.com, right over here. Click on contact. Let me pull this over so you guys can see it better. Sorry about that. Right in there. Okay, click on contact and fill out this little form. I would love to talk to you. It can be on or off the record. But I think he's full of crap right there. I really do. I think he has... I think that he's painting himself into a corner here. Like, he's giving too much information. He should not be doing this. But he's giving too much information. And so what's going to happen is sleuths online, people like myself, are going to say, I want to know who these 4 people are. And they're going to start asking questions. And they're going to start getting answers that probably contradict the good pastor. Hey, by the way, when you're on my website, you can head on over to Micah Miller's case page. If you have not seen this yet, if you're new to my channel, I keep detailed case pages on all of the cases that I cover in depth anyway. So head on over there. You'll find Micah Miller. It's all in chronological order, so you'll see it real quick. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention real quick while we're over here on the website is if you click on this little fish right here, that will take you over to the fish tank, which is a group of fans of this channel. And we like to interact with one another. And so head on over there. In fact, I posted a lot of stuff from my, my vacation and all that stuff. So like this house, guys, this house. We stayed in the most beautiful historic home, and this is coming from a guy who lives in a beautiful historic home. But we stayed in the most beautiful historic home right on the cliffs above Santa Cruz, California, thanks to my in-laws, Kimberly's parents. I mean, look at this place. It was amazing. This is the house right here, if you can see my cursor, that we stayed in. It was so much fun. Anyway, so if you want to join us over on the fish tank, just go to gavinfish.com, click on the little fish up here, and there's like 1,900 of us there in the group. It's pretty fun. Okay, that is the shameless self-plug. All right, let's get back to the good pastor and see what else he has to say about these 4 friends.
The state park or something like that.
Which friend is that?
I probably wouldn't want to name her because I saw this friend one time here in public for 30 seconds. And of course, Robbie S. Harvey, as usual, got somebody to take a picture and destroyed the girl's life, brought up her past and horrible things about her. So people are scared to tell the truth or to talk about the good things of MICA because of the social media.
So this friend,
I don't think any of us are afraid to talk about the good things in MICA. Nobody's afraid to talk. We all think that she is a victim of him. We all think that. All. Most of us think that. Many of us think that, right? I think there are plenty of people that will talk about the good things in MICA, and plenty of people are on social media, people who've known her a long, long time.
If I'm going to take my life, I will probably do it in Lumberton.
By the way, look at his hands from this shot. He's got like a little soccer ball in his hand that he's fidgeting with during the entire interview.
She told me that after MICA passed away, but she told me that MICA told her that 2 years ago. Yeah.
Did she say why? Why that location?
She said because MICA told her it was peaceful and outdoors. And MICA did love the outdoors, loved the outdoors. Vacations were outdoory vacations because that's what she loved. But so
Has she ever been there?
No, not that I know of. Not ever that I know of.
That doesn't even make sense.
Do you guys have any?
That does not make sense. How would she know to go there if she were going to do what ultimately she did if she had never been there before? Does that kind of hint towards him not knowing about his wife? Yeah, he portrays himself as like this loving husband that wants to take care of her, his wife that he is married that has mental illness struggles, but he doesn't know like simple things about her. Now, they were only married 7 years. Let's play devil's advocate here for a second. They were only married for 7 years. Where was I when Kimberly and I had been married 7 years? Well, we had 3 children. Actually, guys, you know what? When we were married 7 years, that is when I had my struggles with depression. We were living in Reno, Nevada. Now I think about it, this is totally tangential, but I'm trying to think, do I know more about my spouse now than I did at 7 years? I think I know her more deeply after 24, but 7 years is a good long time to get to know somebody, share your life with them, right? How did he not know that? It's just contradictory. It doesn't make any sense.
Any connection to that area?
Not at all. I never
Have
even
you ever
heard of
been
it. Nope. I've never even heard of the place. I never even heard of, what's the city? Robinson County. I've never even heard of there before.
So did it strike you as, before you heard this, did it strike you as odd when
Wiping
you
his
heard
face.
that she
Guys,
where she went and what
he's like trying to show like he's wiping a tear, but really he's got an itchy face. He's trying to keep, I think he's trying to keep his story straight. My opinion, he is doing his best to keep his story straight. and make it look like he's a victim here.
Say allegedly happened? Did you question it at all?
Well, I didn't think it was real. I thought her family had made it up and had somebody call me and say that. So that's one big thing. I didn't think it was real. When I found out it was real, you know how like you tell somebody something, you tell them. Then when it happens, you don't want to say I told you so because it's a horrible thing. That's what I felt like. I felt like I told y'all, like I told her family this so many times you can't imagine. I told her friends this. I told everybody. I said, if y'all don't get her lithium, she's going to commit suicide. Her doctor told her this on paperwork where her doctor said this. And then when I get the call, here's what I felt like. I felt like the world's biggest failure because I spent the past 3 months when her family got her out of the hospital and didn't bring her home, and her dad talked her into buying him a car, and all this stuff was happening that was all crazy. I made a vow that I was going to do something every single day to try to get her back on her lithium and save her life. And so every day I did something. Sometimes I did 4, 5, 6, 7 things. Some days it's just one thing. But every day, whether it was an email, a text, visit someone, talk to a family member, talk to a friend, go somewhere, go to a judge, go to probate, I'm going to do something to save her life. And I spent every single day for those 3 months doing that. So getting that phone call made me feel like the world's greatest failure. I was against the whole world because everyone told me that it wasn't true and that I was making it up and that whatever they were saying. So it was me against the world for 3 months, and I failed.
What was the call, and who was the call from, and what did they say?
Man,
that was interesting that he is kind of doing a trot around the bases after the death of his wife, right? I told you so. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you keep her on lithium? That sort of thing. I actually just was looking up while you guys were watching that to see if lithium does have effects in preventing suicidal ideation and so forth. And it does appear that there are some papers that show that it does. So that, I mean, it's not total BS that she would be prescribed lithium if she had ideation in the past, but it's really interesting where he's like, I told y'all, I told you guys, I told you this. Like,
It was a man. I got a call, and it was
he's talking about the call he got.
I think it was a detective. I think, and I remember him being very calm and very nonchalant. And so that's why I thought, well, this is not real. And so I started screaming. I had a family member that was there with me. I started screaming for them to use their phone to call the hospital where the guy said she was at. And my family member called the hospital and said it was real. And I still didn't believe it. And so I called a police chief that I know somewhere around here, captain or somebody. And I said, there's a detective named such and such on the phone telling me these things. Like, is this real? Is this a real person or not? And that person told me that it was real as well. And I just remember,
not a tear.
I remember screaming really loud and throwing up everywhere.
Oh, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part.
I remember throwing up. Did I have spaghetti that day? It was a lot of throw up. It was something red. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Like, guys, this isn't funny because it's amusing. It's funny because it's shocking. He wants to go in the details of his vomit. What did I eat that day? Was it spaghetti? It was red. Was it ketchup? It was definitely tomato based. I had eaten something with tomato sauce. It could have been a pizza, but I threw it up everywhere. I remember because, it was acidic, like tomato, and it was red. Whenever you should have seen this throw up. That's like that is the weirdest thing to do in front. You realize he's there with a crew, right? Like a film crew. There are 3 cameras. There are lights. There's the interviewer. They are probably in the back of that room trying so hard not to laugh. This guy is so full of it, man. The guy is so full of it. It was something red. What did I do? Did I had food coloring in it? I think it may have been a raspberry milkshake. I threw it up everywhere. So dumb.
They tell you.
I don't remember that. Oh, no, I don't remember that. Hold on.
I just remember I threw up everywhere.
I don't remember. He said, my family member called the hospital and spoke to, I think, either the head nurse or medical examiner or somebody. And that lady read me stuff that the Robinson County, I guess, had wrote on a piece of paper. And she was reading me suicide and the weapon and where it was at and all these different facts. And so then because the detective would not tell me it was suicide. And then I called him back and told him what the hospital told me, and he was pissed off and asked me who that lady's name was, and I didn't know her name. And if I did know, I wasn't going to tell him anyway, because I'm glad she told me.
But you should have seen my throw up.
And I
I'm
said,
stuck
is this
on
stuff
that.
true? And I can't remember if he said yes or just hung up. I don't remember.
Do you remember what he said, though?
No, man, I don't remember at all. If I try to enunciate it, I'll probably be making something up based on all the crashing of everything going on. So I can't tell you for sure.
Did you ever question?
Something just occurred to me, guys. Something just occurred to me. If you think back to cases in history where a husband has been responsible for the death of his wife, think Chris Watts, think Scott Peterson. Those are the obvious ones that come to mind, right? These are folks that will talk with the media because they think that is the normal thing to do. They will do that because they're like, hey, I don't want to look guilty by not talking. So I talk, and of course it makes them look guilty because they are, right? JP Miller should not be doing this. He should not be doing this interview. I'm sure his lawyers are telling him not to do it. Anybody with good sense, the elders of his church are telling him not to do it, I'm sure. And yet he's doing it anyway. To me, that is an indication of the consciousness of guilt. In my opinion, that shows consciousness of guilt. He did not pull the trigger. I'm firmly on the side where MICA did it to herself. After 7 years of what I believe was emotional and physical and sexual and religious abuse. And I think that he feels guilty about that, and that's why he's doing this, or at least one of the reasons that he's doing this. He should not be doing this interview. It is so stupid to be doing this.
The findings that the authorities gave to you that this was suicide?
No, I mean, I'm not a detective. I watched Scooby-Doo growing up, but that's what everybody seems to be acting like, is they're part of the mystery machine. But my Lord.
And this is one of a couple times where he tries to be funny. And you're talking about the death of your wife. He's done this a couple of times. This is the first time.
Like, let my wife, let her be at peace. Like, she's in heaven. She's not worrying about all this stuff. Let her rest. Let her memory rest. She had suicidal tendencies over and over, year after year, off medication especially. She went to Dick's Pawn Shop before, purchased a weapon, and tried to do the same thing. She drove out in the middle of nowhere. She called 911, left a voice message. I don't really.
I think he just said that she had gone to Dick's Pawn Shop and bought a weapon once before. Again, that is something that could be followed up on. If that's true or not, I don't know.
Understand what else could be. But you know what? I'm not a professional, so I don't know.
In other words, it all added up to you. It made sense to you.
I mean, I'm not a detective. If she had heart surgery, I'm not going to question the heart surgeon. I don't know anything about detective work at all.
Right, but it's your wife. I mean, it's...
Come on.
And them telling you her life has ended.
Are you trying to ask me if I think somebody murdered her?
Do you think anybody murdered her?
No.
One of the things that raised eyebrows.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there because that was the first part of the interview. Saw that little whew, that was me. I added that. Okay. So I just wanted to edit out all the News Nation commentary and stuff like that on it. So that is a good time for us to start going through a few of your questions before we get back to this. Okay. Remember, if you want to get my attention in the live chat, put a GF in there. Okay. Barb Pace Lamb says GF initials tattooed on his fingers. I looked at it pretty closely, at least on what would be his, what is that? His right hand. It says Zeal. I don't know if it like continues on the other hand, but it says ZEAL. He's also got a cross tattooed on there and a couple of other things, I think. Lily White agrees with me that he is a bad actor. Lynn says, I'm 5 minutes away from JP and I stay away. Good idea. Let's talk disabilities, says Gavin. Off topic, but are you going to cover the attempted assassination at all? I don't know. I don't know if I am. Those of you who are over in the fish tank know that I was planning on being at that rally. Two people from my company were at that rally. I work, my day job is as a local news reporter. So had I been there and could offer some insight that would be unique to me, I would cover it. But in my effort to stay apolitical on the channel, probably not. Probably not, unless you think that there is something that I should add to that conversation. And you can go over to the fish tank and we can interact over there about that one. I try to stay apolitical over here. Aaron Britt says, Gavin, repeating since I forgot the tagline first. Okay, my biggest struggle with accepting the story, she was the one who did it. Okay. Accepting the story that she did it to herself is the distance from her and the gun. The pew pew. To me, that one isn't that hard to believe. Like, I know that it's quote unquote stagnant water or quote unquote still water. And that she was something like 100 feet away or 120 feet away. To me, just, I think that you could show forensically how that happened. Like if I fell dead in water, in a pond, let's say, I think that I would be 100 feet away within 10 minutes, even if it was completely stagnant. But I take your comment and I appreciate it. Harriet says, hope you had a wonderful vacation. We did. Sunny Barbados is a nice island vacay next time. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm willing to go all the way to Barbados. I'm not a beach person. I'm not drawn to the ocean. I'm not drawn to the beach the way my wife is. And if my wife wants to go to the beach, she wants to go to the nostalgic ones, the places where she either camped or stayed in beach houses and stuff like that as a kid. So, but thank you for that idea, Harriet. I think my idea of a perfect vacation is going somewhere with deep and long history and exploring some of the places. And I'm looking forward to that, actually. In September, I'll be headed back to Europe for CrimeCon UK. By the way, oh my goodness, talk about a good segue. If you go over to the events section of my website, you will find CrimeCon UK 2024 is my next true crime event. True Crime Fest was postponed until early 2025. So this is my next one. It's being held on the 21st day of September and the 22nd. If you use FISH as a code at checkout, you can save yourself 10%. But I'm going to be taking our third child with me, and since we're going to be in Europe, we're going to probably spend a couple days on the continent as well. There are a couple places that she'd like to see, and that is my idea of the perfect vacation. Phoenix Rising says, Gavin, he's a sick puppy. I think it's revealing that she was only amazing when she was with him, only when she was taking her meds, doing what he said. Like his name is Simon. That is an astute observation, a great observation, Phoenix. Thank you. Texas Patty says, Gavin, this is so hard to listen to. He has a reason for all these lies and cuckoo behavior. He's a narcissist on display and living it. It's almost entertaining, except someone is gone. Yeah, I feel that exact same way, Patty. It's like, ooh, wow. Cassie says, Gavin, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't JP the one with the prescription for lithium and he was giving it to her? Last time I checked, pastors don't have the power to prescribe or dispense meds. I do. Well, I mean, that was one of the things in the press conference at the courthouse, right? Is that MICA was claiming that he was giving her prescription meds. But I don't know if she herself had a prescription for lithium. I don't know. That's a great observation. Good question. Courtney Hink says, Gavin, when I was in my addiction, I was a habitual liar. I would constantly tell people, you can call and check, and you can verify it if you want, etc., knowing that people are not going to check. Yeah, that is the behavior of somebody who is in that habit. Good comment, Courtney. Gavin, please. He didn't anticipate the questions that are actually the catalyst for this interview. Yeah. Crocodile tears indeed. L. Young says, I saw JP Miller say that he only preaches to people who are not sinners. He only preaches to people who are not sinners. Where does he find those? I could say a lot for those who follow him and himself. That's okay. I have not heard him say that, but that is interesting. Okay, we've got several more comments, but let's get back to the video so that we don't run out of time on this. Here we go.
Was when you gave a sermon here and you announced publicly that she had committed suicide. And you attributed it to her mental health. Why did you feel the need to come out with that at that moment?
That's a great question. So first, let's discuss why I preached that morning.
By the way, repeating the question or saying good question or great question, those are time fillers that allow people some time to think. He does that several times during this interview.
Okay. So people have been asking that. So have you ever taken any psychology classes or anything like that?
Very few.
Okay, yeah, I haven't taken any. So I would love to find a book or a psychology professor or someone that could tell me the correct response when you spend 7 years trying to keep someone alive by just taking a few pills that their family tells them not to take.
He just keeps blaming and blaming them.
They go into a hospital, their family takes them out, and then you spend 3 months trying to get them help when their family's telling them that you're evil and the bad person, and then it finally happens, the thing that you've been dreading for 7 years, then you're trying to prevent for 7 years, then it happens. I don't know what the correct response is, right? Am I supposed to stay home and cry? Am I supposed to go out with my friends? Am I supposed to go to a bar and drink? I don't know what the right thing is, right? As a pastor, should I just get on my knees and pray? I mean, I want to die in that moment. And so the next morning, I remember thinking, okay, if I stay home, I'm probably going to kill myself. I'm probably going to just go to heaven and be with her and be done. Because I need to be around people, but I don't want to be around people.
I'm not buying this at all.
Because then I'll be judging the guy that's preaching the whole time, and I can preach just as easy as I can breathe. So I'm just going to go in the mode of what I'm normally going to do and just continue my life normally until I finally have to deal with what's going on. And so I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know the right response. I wish somebody had told me, in hindsight, if I go back in time, I probably would have done the same thing and still preached. And then the sermon was about leaving your legacy and the people you leave on earth and your memory.
Why did they take it off YouTube then?
Micah would want me to preach. That's exactly what she'd want me to do. She'd be telling me to do it. She'd be trying to force me to do it.
If it was such a great sermon, why was it removed from the YouTube channel?
And then at the end of the sermon, when I made the announcement was made, and of course, I'm not in a clear thinking frame of mind. I mean, it's like, it's not like I'm, kumbaya and got it all together. I said what I said because I didn't want them to think that it was because she's a bad person or I wanted them to know, like, if Micah does anything that's out of character, it's because of her mental illness. It's not because of her. Like
I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it at all. I don't buy it. Like, I don't know what else to say other than I just don't buy that at all. That he would go up there and air his wife's dirty laundry and then claim that I did that because I wanted them to know that it wasn't her. It was her mental illness. No, that is not how you put it. I can sympathize a little bit about the whole, I don't know what the right response is. But that's the thing, is that people with consciousness of guilt try to figure that out. They try to figure out what the right response is. Let me tell you what the right response is. The right response is to shut down, is to close up, is to gather your inner circle around you. Those are the right responses. It is to mourn. Those are the right responses. But people who are like narcissistic and have this deep consciousness of guilt are trying to create a facsimile of what the right response is. And it's never the right thing. Dude, you don't preach the next day. Hello? Hello? Everything this guy says, I don't buy.
Wonderful woman, full of integrity. When she's on her medicine, she's black and white, does the right thing, does not like the wrong thing being done.
That is not what he said.
She's a totally different person, and I didn't want them to see her as someone that was bad. I wanted them to know it's just a sickness, like if you have heart disease or if you have, diabetes or whatever. Mental
that is not what he said.
Continue going forward, and so
he simply said, "You all know that she has mental illness, or that she's mentally ill." That's what he said. He didn't say, this wasn't her. She's a good person. We all know MICA. We know that she's a good person. We know that this was her off of her meds. Had she just been on her meds, this never would have happened. He didn't do that. He just like, y'all know she's mentally ill. So bull crap.
That's why I said that.
Also, something I found interesting in that moment, you said, before I tell you this news, I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm going to tell you this news, and I want you to leave. I don't want you to stand up and talk about it. Why?
That's a great question. And that was actually intentional, because the last thing I wanted to hear.
Yes, it was intentional. We're going to let him get the last word, but yes, it was intentional. It's because he was coercively controlling his congregation. That's why. He could have said, guys, listen, I'm heartbroken up here. I don't want to, it would just destroy me to talk about this any more than this. So will you please do me a favor and just wait till I'm gone, or take it outside? He didn't do that. He's just like, listen, don't talk about it here in the church. And it's because he has that controlling attitude, I think.
Was people talking about my wife. I wanted them to go and take it to Jesus before they start, doing what some Christians like to do and just chatter. And I didn't want to experience the extra pain. I didn't want to be mad at somebody in my church because I heard them say, well, I'm not even going to guess at what somebody could have said, but I didn't want anybody to say anything negative about my wife.
Don't buy it.
Point of concern, let's say, for people watching, was when you gave a eulogy. It was something concerning. People said that was concerning that you said that you tried to raise Micah from the dead.
Okay, hold on. If you have not watched the eulogy, go over to my website. This will be the easiest way to find it. Go to the website, and I've got I've got this video right here where we go through the eulogy together. That's the easiest way to find it. It is something else, man. Something on a level that is, I just can't even believe that's the way it happened. I can't even believe it. So that's where you find it. Pastor's shockingly bad eulogy of wife. It is devastatingly horrible, man. So bad. All right, let's get back to him talking about raising the dead. I actually don't have a whole problem with somebody who professes Christian faith to try to raise the dead. I it's not something I would do, but if you believe in Jesus, you believe he did it, and you believe if you have enough faith that you could do it too, I don't have a problem with it. It is what I had a problem with was I laid down with her 4 times this week. That was the weird thing for me. But anyway, let's watch what he says.
I believe at another point you said you laid next to her body in the morgue. Is that true?
I didn't lay next to her body. I mean, I laid. I couldn't. You can't lay next to her because her body's up on this thing. But I mean, I hugged her, and I sat on the floor, next to her and just talked to her for a while. But yeah, I tried raising her from the dead, because you know what? If it had worked, we'd have a whole different story. But God forbid me not try it, and always wonder the rest of my life would it have worked? Right? Jesus did it. Elisha did it. There's a few other people in the Bible, and so
thank you, Mimi.
Yes, if somebody I love more than anything in the world,
and thank you, Autumn,
has passed away what I believe to be an early death, you better believe I'm going to try to, in Jesus' name, raise them from the dead. I believe in healing. I believe in miracles. I believe in the raising of the dead. I'm a one God, apostolic, tongue-talking, holy, rolling, born-again, heaven-bound believer in the liberated power of Jesus' name. I'm not ashamed.
How many times has he said that phrase in his life? He did not make it up right there. Let's listen to that one more time.
In my life, would it have worked? Right? Jesus did it. Elisha did it. There's a few other people in the Bible, and so yes, if somebody I love more than anything in the world has passed away what I believe to be an early death, you better believe I'm going to try to, in Jesus' name, raise them from the dead. I believe in healing. I believe in miracles. I believe in the raising of the dead. I'm a one God, apostolic, tongue-talking, holy, rolling, born-again, heaven-bound believer in the liberated power of Jesus' name. I'm not ashamed of it.
Would you characterize your...
He has said that sentence so many times. Oh my goodness. All right. So this is the third. I think there are a total of 4 parts. This is the third part. You saw that edit. That was me.
Relationship with MICA is healthy?
Oh man, when she was on her medicine, we had the greatest marriage you could ever imagine. We spent every day together. I don't know any other couple that spends every day. So we wake up, well, she'd kind of wake up before me, but we'd go work out together every day, 5 days a week. We'd eat lunch together every day. We would work together every day. We'd pick up the kids, do stuff with the kids every day. We'd go to dinner every night together. Then every night we would have our routine. So there's 3 things we would do. We would either sit in the bathtub together for 2 hours until the water went from steaming hot to ice cold.
Bull crap.
She bought this big air mattress we'd put in the back of the truck, and we'd go park somewhere here in Myrtle Beach where there's no lights, and she'd bring us some hot chocolate, and we'd lay on the air mattress for 2 hours.
Bull crap.
Or we would go out on the beach with our beach blanket and lay there for 2 hours. But the point was, no cell phones, just her and I. She would talk 90% of the time. I would talk 10% of the time.
Bull crap.
Just listen. And so every night, 2 hours, we'd hang out together. And so...
Bull crap. Come on, man. Dude. Guys, anybody who has been married longer than a year knows that that is not what happens in marriage. They had children to take care of. Crying out loud. They had struggles okay, so you mean to tell me, Pastor Miller, that through all the struggles that you went with your wife, with mental health and all that stuff, that every night you did one of 3 things for 2 hours. You sat in a tub together for 2 hours till it went to ice cold. You went out in the woods on an air mattress in a truck and looked at the stars, or you went out into the beach on a beach blanket to do the same thing. No bull crap. And the kicker, that she was the one who talked 90% of the time. Dude, are you listening to yourself? I don't buy it. This guy, man. This guy just kills me. It just kills me, man. Oh my goodness. Let me put that back up for you guys. Here we go.
Marriage healthy. It's probably as healthy as any other American marriage.
Have you ever abused?
Yeah, it's healthy. Nobody does that. They do that while they're newlyweds. It lasts for like 2 weeks, and then you've got to water the lawn and fix the garbage disposal and go out and get ice cream for your mom's birthday and like a gajillion other things that get in the way of your 2 hours every night, one of three options. Bullcrap.
Your wife?
Never, not once in any way, shape, or form. I took better care of her than anybody could ever take care of her. I never asked her to clean the house, not once in 7 years of marriage. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to work. She was never harmed physically in any way.
Ooh, I just noticed that. He asked if he had ever abused his wife. He said, absolutely not. Never asked her to clean, never asked her to cook, took her out to all these meals. I never abused her physically in any way. That is a very important qualifier that he put in there. I'm going to just go back just a little bit. And then here we go.
So every night, 2 hours, we'd hang out together. And so was our marriage healthy? It's probably as healthy as any other American marriage.
Have you ever abused your wife?
Never, not once in any way, shape, or form. I took better care of her than anybody could ever take care of her. I never asked her to clean the house, not once.
I took care of her better than anybody else. This is textbook narcissism, I think.
In 7 years of marriage, she never had to cook a single meal. She never had to work. She was never harmed physically in any way.
In a letter,
never harmed physically in any way.
You wrote to MICA. You apologized.
Yes.
Right? You apologized for tracking her, for messing with her tires, for posting the picture. So that's all true, right?
So great question. I'm so glad you asked that, actually.
So glad you asked. Great question.
I would just say I never wrote the letter, right? Because how can you prove that I wrote somebody a letter? There's no signature, there's no name, it's not in my handwriting. But I 100% wrote the letter. And I did it because the night that she was with me, the last night we were together for 4 hours, at one point, because the whole 4 hours I'm trying to get her to take her medicine. And then she said, my family doesn't want me to. They don't want me to come inside the house. Maybe it's your house, come inside. So finally get to the point, she says, you know what? I'll take my medicine and I'll come home if you'll give me $10,000 and if you'll write me an apology letter.
So let me understand this correctly. The email that you wrote to MICA, apologizing for hiring a PI, tracking her, messing with her tires, and posting a topless photo of her. You wrote that, you say.
Yes,
but
sir.
Now you're saying that you didn't actually do these things.
I did the PI thing, but so over the years what I've learned with her is when she's in a delusional state of mind, I have to play into it in order to get her back on medicine. So the first year or two when she'd say something, I'd say, that's not true, that's not real. She'd get mad and blow up and knock a hole in the wall or something like that. So then by December 2019, I think it was, we were watching TV and she just stopped and said, you're a double agent. And I said, no, I'm not. She says, yes, you are. She said, and I'm going to call the police. She said, you're a double agent, you've stolen my things, and I'm going to put you in jail. And I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? She hadn't been taking her medicine.
So just to be clear, you wrote this to MICA, but now you're saying you didn't do those things.
No, I did not slash the tire. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere, ever. Anyway, I think that was just a made-up thing. And I think that her tire just ran over.
All right. Woo. Let's pause. He says there was never a naked picture. I think that was made up. I just want that to like everybody keep that top of mind. Okay? This is the big lie. This is the big lie that I think that we caught him in. And it, to me, like if I were presenting him to a jury, it would go to his credibility. And I don't think anybody would ever believe him. He just said there was never a naked picture, that was completely made up. All right. Remember that. We're going to get back to it.
From what I understand, I don't know. I didn't see anything. But I did hire the PI before. I did everything I could to stop her from getting a weapon, everything you could imagine. I hired a private eye, and I said, put a tracker on her car, and if she gets anywhere near a gun store, please let me know. I did everything I could think of. And
did that private eye alert you that day?
No, I had stopped paying for it about 4 weeks beforehand. Yeah.
Why?
Running out of money and people telling me that she was totally fine and I'm wasting my time.
So what do you say to the doubters and critics
Other people's
who say you drove her to suicide?
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. So wait, she wasn't with me. Because listen, with me, she didn't commit suicide. apart from me for 3 months and with her family, she did commit suicide. One of the last things she showed me a book she's reading called...
See, all of the stuff that they in the press release and on MICA's list, all of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that they brought up was behavior that he was doing after she left. He was showing up at places, at the car dealership. He was showing up at different places. He had a tracker on her car. He did order those things, I think, and slashed her tires. Like, you can't say, well, she wasn't with me. When she was with me, she was safe, but she wasn't with me, so it's their fault. That you're completely ignoring the whole part where you're doing all this nefarious stuff.
I love Jesus, but I want to die. And I said, why do you want to die? She said, because I can't come home because my family won't let me. That's what I say to them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right. This is the last segment. This apparently is before the interview began. He is crying, and I want you to look very closely at... I want you to look very closely at his eyes when he comes up. Ready?
Because I can't come home because my family won't let me. That's what I say to them.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm crying. I'm so sorry. This is going to be so hard. Oh. Oh, I can't believe that I'm going to do this. This is going to be so hard. Hold on. I think I can. I think I'm going to be fine. Here we go. Deep breath.
What's tripping you up?
Being able to tell.
Okay. Nope, not a tear.
Being able to talk about everything.
Here he comes with his high voice.
People don't care to hear
Bull crap.
the truth. They just want to go off of feelings and believe, whoever screams the loudest rather than whoever, has the proof.
Do you feel that you did anything?
He thinks he has proof.
Do you feel any part responsible?
God, that's a great question. Man, that's such a good question. Wow, what a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Sure.
Okay.
Say good question 4 times. I still can't think about how to answer this.
I know what I do. I would not involve her family when she's having mental episodes and is schizophrenic and is off
Their
off her
fault.
meds. I would never have texted them.
We've seen you dressed as Spider-Man in videos.
Okay, let me just wait, hold on. I'm not Spider-Man.
This is the second time where he tries to be funny, guys, and it falls flat on its face.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
To me, it says Spider-Man as the person who's texting me. So we've seen you in videos dressed as Spider-Man. We know there's a Spider-Man character in the back of your house somewhere. Her family wonders if you have identity issues and this need to align with superheroes. What's your reaction? And what's the reason for the Spider-Man?
Well, first of all, I can neither confirm nor deny that I've ever put on a Spider-Man costume. But you'll never see me in the same room with Spider-Man, I will say that.
So stupid.
And I don't know, people say stuff. Me and Micah would go to...
So you don't get in the Spider-Man costume? Yeah. I mean, you just sent me a picture with you and Spider-Man.
Me and Micah, we'd go to Comic-Cons every year. We both dress up.
So stupid.
Micah dressed up more than I did, actually. There are times I didn't dress up and she did. We love that kind of stuff. She was Wonder Woman, she was Spider-Woman, she was Mystique, she was a lot of different characters.
So you're not even going to grant that there's something odd here?
No, I'm not. No. I put on the Spider-Man costume. I go see handicapped children. I'll go visit kids that love comic books and that are handicapped, and I'll pretend like I'm Spider-Man, and I'll take them a comic book and do videos with them and stuff like that.
One of the videos that has surfaced recently is
I like this part.
And I'm sure you know what it is. You're sitting face down on the ground and you're freaking out and you're talking about, you're literally squealing about being eaten by ants. Taking the wrong meds, that you missed your family.
happened?
Because it's biting everywhere.
Is your medication something they gave you?
I mean, for viewers, for people watching it, the common thought is, what is going on here, and do you have a drug problem?
So, I fell out of a tree, a giant magnolia tree. It was like 300 years old. I broke 12 bones. It was 10 to 12 bones. I don't know if you count fingers. Yeah, it is count fingers. Anyway, I have all this metal in my body, and I'd never taken pain meds in my life, and I just had my body cast taken off.
He's told this story probably 100 times, and he's trying to tell it like he has to remember the details.
And so I took a little bit too much pain meds that day.
That's it.
That's
just
it.
What? Percocet?
I don't remember any of them. It was 2017, 2016, and it was like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And I was missing my family. My wife, MICA, and I, we started through an affair, and so we were both married to people, and then we got divorced, and I was missing my family because I'd lost my family at the time, and I was on pain meds, and it just all went together. But fell out of a tree, broke a bunch of bones, took too many pain meds. That was that story.
Not hallucinogenics.
Not what would hallucinogenic be?
Make you hallucinate.
Well, what makes you hallucinate?
Oh, come on. Now, this is an act, guys. Anybody who is in the leadership of a church is acutely aware of what drugs are. I promise. Because lots of people from all different walks of life have issues with drug use and drug addiction and drug abuse. And this whole thing was like, well, a hallucinogen, what is that? I've known what a hallucinogen was since I saw Dragnet with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd, and I had to look up what a pseudohalogenic compound cyanogen was what the pseudohalogenic compound cyanogen. Come on. So since I was a teenager, I've known what a hallucinogen was. This is a guy that leads a church. Maybe it's a church with no sinners in it, and that's why he doesn't know what a hallucinogen is.
2016, and
Let's
it was like
watch this one more time.
Or whatever, and I was missing my family. My wife, MICA, and I, we started through an affair, and so we were both married to people, and then we got divorced, and I was missing my family because I'd lost my family at the time, and I was on pain meds, and it just all went together. But fell out of a tree, broke a bunch of bones, took too many pain meds. That was that story.
Not hallucinogenics.
Not what would hallucinogenic be?
Make you hallucinate.
Well, what makes you hallucinate?
Drugs.
Like illegal drugs?
Hallucinogenic drugs, yeah.
Oh, I've never done a legal drug my whole life.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh, crap, that was a lie. I'm sorry, that was a lie. When I was 16 years old, one time I was in a truck with two of my friends, and they were both smoking pot. I didn't smoke any, but they do a thing called hot box, and so I got some of that. And then I tried steroids one time.
This guy. Oh, I'm so glad it is over, guys. I'm so glad it is over. That was painful. That guy. Oh, I don't want to look at him anymore. No, it's just, you know what? Let's remember who we're talking about here. It's easier to look at her because she's our victim. I don't want to look at him anymore. That guy, man. No, his face is over on my other monitor. I don't even want to look. I don't know. I need to move it. Okay, it's down. I can't see him anywhere. Let's go to your comments. Let's keep MICA up here, and so that we can remember who we're talking about here. Nifty 50, Gavin, welcome back. Not sure I can handle this video. This guy. Right? It is so obvious that he is lying like a rug. I agree that she did it to herself, but I also believe he was the cause. Texas Patty, oversharing is an attempt to convince others that you should believe their story. I agree. Let's see. Tracy says, Gavin, off topic, but did you get a new picture of a door? Let's go back over here. No. Do you guys know where those door pictures are from? Have I shared that before? I think I have. It's a whole series. I did a series of 8 or 10 door pictures. It's in a place called Nitry, France. This one is my favorite one. This one is by far my favorite one. This is the gas station that I stopped in Nitry. That was the gas station. It was like there was a gas pump on the sidewalk. I pulled up to it, put my debit card in, and got my gas. I was driving from somewhere in Germany to Paris. I'm sure I started in Munich, went through Switzerland and everything, but I stopped in for gas in Nitry, and it was just a town with a bunch of fascinating doors. So that's what you see. How do we do it? There, and then there are several here. There's some up here too. I like my door pictures. Let's go back over to MICA here. All right. Lee says, Gavin, Micah couldn't remember the name of the state park when she called 911, but she told a friend that was where she was going to go if she ever. Hey, good. That's a good catch. That's a good catch. Yeah, I don't know where I am. Can you check the GPS? But but she told her friend that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. JP looks like he's on something. He cannot seem to give anyone a straight answer, cannot keep his story straight, I believe. Let's see. If he really was doing his best to help her, he won't be cheating on her. Indeed. Melody Joy, I think I'm a little behind, so I don't know if this resolves, but regarding sound quality, when you cut to the interview, I have to increase my volume. Oh, sorry about that, guys. That was the most volume that that News Nation did. Sorry about that. I'm glad you guys were able to hear it. Let's see. Gavin, when he was doing all these wonderful things for MICA, when was he doing all these wonderful things for MICA? Was that in between girlfriends? He just Googled this stuff? It's all generalities. Where is the paper signed by a doctor? Yeah, good question. Good question. Schnauzer Gal. By the way, Schnauzer Gal, on our way home, we did this road trip. We drove 5,550 miles exactly, door to door. On our way through, between California and Pennsylvania, stopped in at my brother's house. And they have a little miniature schnauzer named Rudy, who is maybe the best dog I've ever known. Ever. And the second best dog I've ever known was probably, can you see him? You can't. Hold on. You can see my bags over on my chair there. That guy, he was a good boy. That one right there. And then the third best dog I've ever known, another schnauzer. Anywho, Schnauzer Gal says he rubs me the wrong way, plays victim, but MICA was the true victim. Indeed. Gavin, so you were thinking she did this to herself? I've been late on this live. Yeah, I do. I think that she did it to herself, but it was after years of coercive abuse. That's where I am. Gavin, he just lied. When he gets high-pitched, he is lying. Well, then, he's lying all the time. We are witnessing the ultimate example of a narcissist. Why have they not questioned him on anything? I think they did it. I think they did okay in this interview. I'm sure that there was some negotiating happening. Where am I supposed to be here? I'm not in. There we go. I'm sure there was some negotiation happening before the interview, so I bet they did their best. Angela, Michael had mental issues because of him. He was making her crazy for years. I agree. Let's see. Yeah. Let him keep talking, Gavin. The more he talks, the deeper he digs. Indeed. Gavin, on Law and Crime, they said there was more than one spent casing at the site and her body could have floated to its final resting place. They have cleaned up 911 call. Someone is whispering. Okay, I've addressed this in another video. But yes, there were 2 spent casings and 1 unfired bullet on the ground. That is true. If memory serves, I might be wrong here, but if memory serves, that's what it was. Number 2, yeah, her body floated to its final resting place, which is what I believe happened. Guys, full on, if I were to like stand at the edge of a pond, say I'm like my feet in the pond, and I fall backwards and I just float. After 10 minutes, I promise you, I won't be anywhere near where I went in, especially if it's a windy day. That's the thing about this. When you're talking about the fluid dynamics of the situation, it's not just the fluid dynamics of the pond. It is, she would have been blown about. Now, having said that, she probably would have been exhaled. I don't know. I just think that if I were to do the experiment, which is not beyond me, I could do it, and just go to somebody's pond and fall in stagnant water, put on a timer for 10 minutes and see where I am. I bet it's not even close to the same spot that I went in. Okay. And then they've cleaned up the 911 call. Someone is whispering. Okay. Yes, but my issue about that is that it is just as likely that it is somebody whispering in the 911 call center as it is that somebody is whispering on the other end of the line. When I heard somebody say MICA's name, my thought was, I'm sure that is a supervisor or a coworker that is working with the 911 dispatcher at the time. Because keep in mind, that dispatcher had to be doing other things while she was talking with MICA. So, yeah, I am solidly in the camp that MICA pulled the trigger. At the same time, I'm solidly in the camp that JP is responsible for it. He can't be held criminally responsible for it. But in my opinion, he is civilly responsible for it and will likely pay the price eventually. I hope so. Angela says, we need all her medical records. I'm sure there are no records to back up his repetitive BS about MICA's mental issues. She didn't have any issues until she married JP and he tried to control her. Indeed. Yeah, Gina, who are those 4 friends? I want to know who the 4 friends are. Angela again, JP is always deflecting blame to MICA, her family, and friends. He always has to be in control. That's why he preached the day after. That's why he blamed her mental illness. It was self-induced. Indeed, I agree with you. Gavin, no one in that congregation would have ever thought that she had a mental illness because that was not how she portrayed herself. It's because she wasn't sick. Gavin, check my church has the sermon and does 5 YouTube videos breaking it down. I've watched those and they did a good job. L. Young, Gavin, he has said that a lot. It also shows that he talks really fast when he has rehearsed something. Yeah. That whole, I don't even remember. It was like bum, 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 bum. Yeah. That phrase is lyrics to a song. I did not know that. Thank you. I Spy Crime, Gavin, when he realized this case exploded with the kind of attention that it has gotten, he went into panic mode, so he has spent every waking minute of every day trying to cover his hind end. Yes, I agree. Lynn, Gavin, being a journalist, how do you feel about how the interviewer handled the interview? Do you think he challenged him with enough facts? No, well, the thing about these kinds of interviews that take a long time to get done is they are negotiated. They're negotiated out, what is on limits, what is off limits, what can we talk about, what cannot talk about. And some people think that any journalist worth their salt would not agree to those kinds of things, but no. There are journalists that have the power to say, kick rocks. I am not negotiating what this interview is going to be. Those are the Diane Sawyers of the world, the Lester Holtz of the world, I don't know, the Katie Couric's of the world. I know that I'm dating myself in all these, but most journalists or even producers that get that kind of interview, yeah, they're probably going to have to negotiate that out. So with that in mind, I think he did an okay job. But yeah, he could have pushed a little harder on those things. That whole thing, like, you don't know what a hallucinogen is. Were you born yesterday? You know, that kind of stuff. It's a good question, Lynn. Angela, when she was on her medicine, he was able to manipulate and control her. When she didn't take his medicine, she was of sound mind and resisted his control. Yeah. And it's a song. Okay, cool. Let's see. Jana says, Gavin, don't tell him on here in case he were to see this video to not say things that he shouldn't say. Haha. We want everyone to know who he really is, so let him keep babbling on. Yeah, well, here's the good news, Jana. He's not smart enough to stop talking. Like, if he went on this and did this interview, it was against the advice of everybody who is of sound mind. I promise you. He should not have done that. So that's an indication that he'll continue to be stupid that way. Shiny Star Gavin, he said he didn't want people talking bad things about MICA, but he was trashing her daily till today. He's just trying to come clean, innocent for any potential charges. Yeah, that's good. Gavin, thanks for picking this up. I watched the interview first and wanted to vomit when I heard his lies. Hey, Patty, tell me, what color was that vomit? Or would that vomit have been? Oh, that part just killed me. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. All right. Those have all been good comments. One more thing I want to do before we go. We're an hour and a half into this, guys, but there's one thing I want to do before we go. And it is to come over to this document right here. You guys know that I got a whole bunch of documents through Freedom of Information Act requests. I've published them on MICA's case page. They are behind a Patreon paywall because I make that work available to my Patreon patrons. But then on YouTube, I will show them and go over them. So you don't have to pay because we go over them. And I've gone over this one once before. This is an event report. What was JP Miller's, what were his words? He said something like, no, I didn't post a nude photo. I don't even think there was a nude photo, right? Okay, this is the event report. The notes, a nude picture of complainant posted on Facebook by her ex-husband who has her phone and access to her old Facebook account. Complainant will be on scene to meet. Responding officer met with the complainant who advised her soon-to-be ex-husband posted a nude photo of her on a Facebook page called Big Boobs and Nice Curves and tagged her old Facebook account that he has access to. The complainant further advised, by the way, old Facebook account does not mean ancient. It means that I believe she started a new Facebook account after she left. So the old Facebook account would be her Facebook account that she had forever, right? Blah, blah, blah. The complainant further advised he's the only person she has ever sent that type of photo to, and the photo that was posted was one she sent him 6 months ago. Complainant was able to show responding officer the photo in question. Although the complainant's breasts are exposed, the nipple is blurred out, not meeting South Carolina Code of Law for nudity. Furthermore, the post of the complainant on the Big Boobs and Nice Curves was posted anonymously. The complainant was further advised that once a photo is sent, person, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So I'm just saying, the photo exists. The photo is there. It's there for the world to see. And him saying, there's no nude photo. That never would have happened. That is a lie. He definitely got caught in a lie there. Now, him saying that it wasn't me, I mean, that is not, we can't, if he said it wasn't me who did it, then we wouldn't be able to catch him in that because it was posted anonymously, misspelled, but anonymously. But the fact that he claimed that it didn't exist, that's a lie. The responding officer saw the photo, saw it on Facebook, saw which group it was in. And that to me goes to his credibility. And that is why I believe that it is his responsible that this beautiful young woman whose life was taken, probably at her own hand, I believe at her own hand, but after years of coercive abuse by, I'm just going to show him for just a second because I can't stand it, by this guy. Okay, we're done. Yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying. That it's just like, wow, I just don't want to look at it anymore. Just don't even want to look at him. I had to listen to him for like, I did that twice, guys. I watched the whole thing and then I did it with you guys. I did it twice. I need to take a shower. All right. Hey, if you are not subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so if this is the kind of thing that you like. We do deep dives, we do documents, we do a little bit of sarcasm and drollery around here. And I invite you to stick around if this is kind of your thing. You can always visit my website, gavinfish.com, where you can see MICA's case page and many others. My page has been described as crack for the true crime aficionado. While I do not condone the abuse of illegal narcotics, I do condone the use, not abuse, the use of true crime content. One of the things I try to do every day is give you some true crime headlines. So this could be a daily stop for you. Also, you can reach out to me by clicking contact and filling out the form. You can be anonymous and you can send me information. You can send me documents and you can do so completely anonymously. I would love it if you would. If there's something that you would like me to check out. With that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you for being here. Have a terrific night and I will see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.